Thank you very much for coming to our pitch day. This is our third edition. I'm actually thinking to do something more crazy, which is a pitch marathon, maybe September, October. We do something like an entire day inviting founders to pitch. They can come anytime and hosting everyone up with some discussion in between, but that's an ongoing discussion. So today we have another very exciting pitch day. Thank you so much for, first of all, I want to thank the investors because I know how busy you are and how busy your schedule, and for you coming today, I'm very grateful to all of you. So I would like to start introducing one by one the investors. So Stephanie, if you want to start and introducing shortly yourself.
Yeah, in 2 sentences, what I do, I build brands through acquisition and angel investing, meaning I'm a marketing person, but I'm also a financer. I like challenges. I like building brands, working on logo marketing strategies at my forte, and I tend to help startups that need that sort of help.
Thank you, Stephanie. Julia, please, if you want to introduce yourself.
My experience is concentrating in VC, private equity deals, startup development, and also all this change management, the digital transformation of the growing business in order to help them to be more flexible and more efficient.
Thank you, Julia. And Gabriel, please.
I work at Big Start Ventures. We're a B2B focused VC, and we invest solely in the intersection between the financial sector and technology. So anything around fintech, insurtech, and we invest mainly in from anywhere from pre-seed up to Series A. That's our sweet spot. Looking forward to hearing everyone's presentation.
Thank you, Gabriel. It's your second time with us, Stefan as well. So really, thank you, guys. You are spending quite a few times with us. So now we go to the protagonist, right? So I'm really excited to introduce these 8 great founders, actually more than 8 because someone is 2, and they've been selected between 30, and I hope I've done a good job in selecting them. I hope so, as I believe, not because of me, because of them. And I want to start calling Nisha to pitch. Nisha, please, the stage is all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Nishat Hashim, the CEO and founder of Apogeo Technologies. Apogeo is where creatives create, market, and collaborate. There are over 1 billion creatives around the world, but only a handful are able to truly make it. It's not because they lack the talent, but it's because of traditional gatekeepers, traditional ways of networking, collaborating, and monetization that's been hindering diversification. We are breaking down barriers in the creative industry and democratizing it through our creative ecosystem, Apogeo Technologies. We are the creative connector, a virtual platform that delivers on next-generation networking, collaboration, and digital marketplace for creatives. In doing so, we are also tackling the UN's Sustainable Development Goals of inclusion via our ecosystem in an industry that has been fragmented with many entry barriers since the beginning. We're achieving this in 4 key ways: through ML-enabled creative community to help creatives find collaborators. An example of this is a screenwriter looking for a producer being able to do so via our community directly. Matchmaking, AI-driven matchmaking to increase chances of success. Data-driven insights to boost matching. Last but not least, ensuring the creative work, such as the script written by an independent screenwriter, can be sold directly through our platform to a production studio. We monetize through mostly a subscription model with multiple tiers. Creative Starter at $10 per user per month, Creative Genius at $20 per user per month, with teams offering through Creative Platinum or Enterprise with price on application. We also charge a 10% commission from any sales through the marketplace. Just before we go into the competitive landscape, it's important to mention the changes that's been happening in the industry in recent years. New earn-to-watch models, niche streaming platforms, and a global push for diverse content is increasing the need for high-quality content. Since it all starts with scripts and concepts, this is where we're starting our go-to-market roadmap. We're targeting the EU and US markets, where lies the greatest demand at the moment. So looking at the competitive landscape in these markets, the traditional method of networking at film festivals and markets is still prevalent. There are some marketplaces such as Inktip or Slated that offer the opportunity to sell scripts, but lack collaborative matchmaking or the focus on return on investment for the studios. Our unique selling point is in sitting on top of both the traditional networking methods and the limited marketplaces to provide a comprehensive solution to help creatives find both the right collaborators as well as sell their work directly to those with demand for the content with relevant actionable insights, analytics, and data to create stickiness. The current size of the market stands over 3 trillion. Focusing on just the over-the-top or streaming sector, which has been a key driver in the EU and the US in recent years, where an estimated 80 to 100,000 scripts are being sold, each at an average of about 200,000, making it a $16 billion serviceable available market. Capturing even just 7% of that gives us 1.12 billion serviceable obtainable market. We have carried out market validation through interviewing over 1,000 creatives at these different film markets and festivals, speaking with those who had been members of our competitors as well. We went live with the beta and mobile app in Q3 2021 to launch the creative community, attracting over 1,500 creatives, screenwriters, and production studios combined. Our target is very much 250 creative studios, 2,500 creatives, and 300 scripts being sold by end of year 2, year 3, giving us a projected 6 million annual recurring revenue. Nadima and I are the founding team members. I have been a business exec and entrepreneur for almost 15 years in the creative, technology, and consulting industries. I'm also a writer, director, and producer. Nadima is a tech leader with deep expertise in product, tech, and automation. Combined, we have the necessary commercial domain and tech expertise to execute on our vision. Our MVP, we are now expanding from our MVP, our user base through direct sales outreach and referral marketing. We're then going to focus on growth partnerships, elevating our brand positioning further through industry-led events, expanding through social media campaigns and targeted outreach. We are also currently raising seed funding to execute on the next stages of our product roadmap. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of our journey.
So, Julia, do you want to start? Do you have any questions?
Yeah, am I correct? Your business is aimed to create the community of creators of content. Yes or not?
Yes, that's correct.
What are the key advantage of your product, of your service?
Absolutely. So one of the main things we're focusing on is we're not focusing on content that's already been created. We're focusing on where the journey starts, which means scripts. So a lot of independent writers out there already have completed the scripts. What we're doing is allowing them, giving them the opportunity to produce those scripts that's already been written, to have them sold directly to production studios without the need for intermediaries. And that's where the key benefit comes from. So there are a lot of independent production studios, there are a lot of independent writers out there, there are a lot of producers out there, and same with directors or anything else that needs to take a movie or a web series, for example, for streaming purposes, as I mentioned before. And what we are doing is ensuring that the collaboration happens, the right people find each other to get a project off the ground, and is also able to then go to the next stage of being able to sell that script directly through to the production studios via our platform to have the content made.
Mm-hmm. And the second one, and the last one, do you want to develop some additional services in the nearest future?
Yes, we actually are starting with the services to specifically target a certain part of the sector, the industry, but we're building a replicable model so we're able to increase the services to any form of creativity, whether or not it's music, musicians, writers, any sort of creative would be able to just submit their projects through the platform, get it seen, get their profiles made visible to be able to find the right collaborators for their own projects. Okay,
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Stephanie, please, if you have some questions.
Thank you, Nishat, for that amazing presentation and an amazing idea. If I may, as a feedback, to be honest, your pitch, the one sentence that you put on your presentation, I didn't get what you are doing. But when when we responded to Julia, bam, straight away. And when I seen backstage, straight, I think you should use that line to introduce your business, because I wasn't sure, creative, what is she talking about? And I don't know if you've seen my background, but I'm in the film industry as well. And I worked for Warner Brothers in the past, and I have filming for charities. So, as soon as you said that, I could relate. Oh, yes. Okay. Now I know what she's talking about, because I was totally honest with you at the beginning. I was like, what content, what sort of thing? Anyways, I just wanted to understand your background. Why this idea? Where does it come from? Are you yourself a director? Are you a scriptwriter? Where the idea is coming from?
Sure. So I started with screenwriting about 10 years ago, and that's when I started to attend some of these events and found out how difficult it was. If you didn't have the right networks, if you didn't know the right people, it's almost impossible to break into the industry. So that's where it originated. And the more I attended these festivals that most people go to now, the more creatives I spoke with, I realized everyone has the same problem, So I started to look at what's the competitive landscape like, what's missing, what we could be doing. And that's how it all got started, definitely from personal experience.
Okay, perfect. And I suppose my second question is, what sort of investor are you looking for?
Yes, so we are currently looking for venture capitalists and angel investors to raise this current seed round. So open to both VCs and angels.
Yeah, sorry, my question might not have been as precise as I mean, like, what sort of profile? Someone that is in this industry, high tech? What sort of investor?
So two. So whether or not they already have involvement in the creative media entertainment industry, because that helps with the understanding of the market itself. And the second is, of course, tech, because it's a very, very tech-driven platform. So anyone who supports innovative tech disruptors would be the right fit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Gabriel, do you have any question?
I just have one question. First of all, thanks, Nisha, for the presentation. I was just going to ask, you're raising a seed funding, yeah?
Yes, that's correct.
And what will be the use of the funds? What are you planning on? Like, what's the roadmap going forward?
Absolutely. So the majority of the funding is actually going towards the next stages on the product roadmap, which is very much focusing on the matchmaking and the collaboration components within the platform. And obviously a percentage of it is going towards marketing, because it's obviously quite important for us to grow and expand in the US and EU. So we're looking at about 70% going towards building out the tech team and 30% towards marketing.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Nishin. Thank you so much. I mean, for any questions that should come from the attendees, please, if you have the option Q&A, and if you can write here, we take them and bring to the audience, to the funders. Thank you so much, Nisha. And let me move to the number 2. So, Angela, please, guys, introduce yourself and your company. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Angela. It's Luca. We are Bidatogay co-founders. So Bidatogay, it's a blockchain startup based in Dublin, Ireland, and we are working on DataGen project. It's a new blockchain infrastructure for decentralized GPU and CPU cloud computing, so no cloud storage. The cloud computing market, it's really booming in the next few years. In this slide, you see the entire market, so the centralized market and the decentralized one. Obviously, the centralized market, it's still the lion's share of this market, but this market actually has some problems. The main one is no privacy, no transparency at all. Everything is managed by big server farms owned by AWS, Google, Azure, Alibaba in China. So there are a few players that take everything. And also, we think that Web3 applications that are still using centralized provider, it's like a nonsense for their kind of business model. And so we think that if we really want to boost the Web3 revolution, we have to go to the backbones of the web, so touching also the cloud computing. And our solution, doesn't move, okay, it's DataGen ecosystem. It's a new, flexible, and decentralized network that can provide cloud computing for any kind of applications in chain. I go straight to the product, so I try to guide you in this slide. The first part of the project, it's the early infrastructure. So in this early infrastructure, we want to provide specifically cloud computing for search engines and browsers. I mean, like a Web 2 search engines, but privacy-friendly ones. So like DuckDuckGo, Quant, Start Page, Mojek, and also browsers like Brave browser, which still are using AWS. In this early phase, we are going to license the infrastructure to search engines, so we cut a fee for this service. While in the mature phase, we want to expand the range of applications, so any kind of web-free application can use the service and interact with the network, like Gamify, Metaverse application. So it's completely permissionless, and we have just maintainers and transaction fees. Inside this ecosystem, every payment has to be done in our native token, which is DataGen. It's a BEP20 on Binance Smart Chain at the moment. We already minted the token at the end of March. We are going to create a bridge from Binance to our native blockchain as soon as the infrastructure is ready. Here, there is also a crypto fiat exchange, but I skipped this product because we are going to do it in a later phase. So the team that is working at the project at the moment, it's 8 people. The 2 co-founders, me and Luca, which are the managers. We aren't developers, but we have our developers that are very, very skilled. But obviously, we need to grow the team as soon as we have more economical resources. I go to the roadmap, which is quite important because we have already the launch of the token, and we are still in private sale, fortunately, I have to say, because of this market. And it's planned the public sale, but we are posting the idea to have the public sale very close to now. But it's important, the proof of concept that will be ready in November. So at the moment we are building the infrastructure. In August 2023, we can have a beta, so a pilot where the first application can test the network and be the first customers. And a fully functional early infrastructure will be ready in August 2024. And then the mature phase, it's available and so in the market in 25, 26. The tokenomic, I skill it because I don't want to bother you. So the vision, it's very clear. We want to create an infrastructure that is like AWS, a decentralized AWS. So an infrastructure that can provide cloud computing for any kind of application that has to be very fast, low latency time, and very, very efficient. And we think that our infrastructure can do it. So thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much, Angela. We can give now the opportunity to Luca as well to talk.
Thank you,
Gabriel, you have your time, Luca, no worries. Gabriel, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure, I can start. Thanks for the presentation. I have just 2 questions. The first one is a little bit more general. I didn't get it. Are you raising, or will you be raising soon?
Yeah, we are in the private sale round of our token. We already have collected $260,000 from VCs and some angels. Our target for this round, it's like 1 million.
For the token sale.
For the token sale, but we are also opening an equity round for the company, and also the target for the equity is still 1 million.
1 million and
yeah, with this money, let's say we have enough runaway for like one year. Sorry. And but we need to grow the team and also to do marketing and put aside, let's say, money for the listing moment when we'll arrive as soon as possible. We hope.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And right now, what do you see as your biggest competitor?
Yeah, so basically let's say that our competitors are broken up in 2 different main sectors: decentralized and traditional sector. And our competitors here are AWS, Google Virtual Machine, Azure, Alibaba. Okay, and then we have the decentralized competitors, which basically are Golem Network, Akash Network, Kudos, Sonmi, Aleph.im, and all of them have a different model. Sonmi and Aleph.im, I'm going to be pretty technical, sorry, are basically doing computation off-chain, meaning that they have smart contracts matching demand and offer, but the computation works in traditional server farms. Akash, Golem, Kudos are more similar to us, but there are still very important technical differences. For example, Golem is built on the top of the Ethereum network. Akash is built on the top of Solana, and they have some technical constraints. For example, Golem has to respect the block time of Ethereum, which is 12 seconds. And I know that it sounds like unimportant, but when you are trying to provide cloud computing, for example, to gaming applications or search engines, you can't simply wait 12 seconds. It's too much latency time, meaning that at the moment, for example, they're concentrating just on rendering, while we can do other things and target other specific sectors like gaming applications, search engines, and other things that no one is at the moment. It's for technical reason targeting. They have this in their roadmap too, but they're not doing it actually at the moment.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabriel. Stephanie, do you want to take the next?
Yeah, I just have one question. In fact, I wanted to understand, what is your purpose? What is a vision of your company? Because I mean, why are you doing this? Except from comparing yourself with other big, players, why?
Yeah, the main point for us, it's like the Web3 world, it's growing. There are a lot of Web3 applications, so that have in their business model, the privacy, they care a lot about privacy, transparency, decentralization. But at the end, they are still using the centralized providers. So the hardware layer, it's still centralized.
And it's a big vulnerability for the whole ecosystem.
Because there is the problem on censorship of time down, and so it's a big problem, especially if you have a decentralized network as a blockchain. Even the blockchain itself, like Solana blockchain, Binance blockchain, they are proof of stake, and they have the hardware layer is on AWS. So when AWS goes down, the entire network goes down, for example. So for us to decentralize also that deepest layer, which is the hardware layer, it's the point, and it's a market that is still a niche for the decentralization, because blockchain, it's not meant to be to provide cloud computing originally, but if we are able to provide in a very good way, so in a very efficient way, also the cloud computing, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
And sorry, I have a second one. Have you encountered any challenges in that project in terms of putting it together? Because
yeah,
it's not easy one. I mean, like,
the beginning was very difficult because we had no funds at the beginning, or just our personal savings. We convinced developers to work for free at the beginning, so for our native token was very difficult.
It was very difficult,
because
but
you're not developers yourself, right? You're not developers.
We can code a little bit, but this is a very technical product. So even if we can read code and check function in the coding, we can't do all of this by ourselves because we're not developers by profession. We understand coding, we can read it, but we can't do it alone. And so it was very difficult to find people. Was very difficult to find funds at the beginning. Then we started to be easier and easier. Yeah, now our market is crashing, so it's not easier again. But
but also we are starting to have more things on the table. So the token is there, the tokenomics is already done, and all
we are building a POC. We're starting to have partnerships. So yeah, it was difficult the journey at the beginning, but I think that it's worth the effort and the pain.
Yeah. Okay, congratulations. Great, well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you, Stephanie. Julia.
Yes, thank you so much. I have only one question. What is the most crucial threat for your business in terms of market regulation, for example, or something like that? Because now we can see that the government in all the world is trying to make some restrictions for this field in order to control all operations.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Let's say that the regulations are not always a bad thing, but because when there is regulation, also there is clarity. Exactly, it's not anymore a gray area, and so you know how to move. And for our personal project, the regulation is not bad. I think obviously if the regulation, it's like we ban completely the crypto and the blockchain, obviously we are done.
Yeah, the only main problem from regulation, maybe if, for example, you know that for the personal data law of the European Union, they require to have servers in the EU. And yeah, for us, it's pretty tricky, let's say, because the data of our clients are but it's decentralized, are encrypted. So it will be no problem to have, for example, servers in Africa or in Latin America, because no one will anyway know the data of the user. They will be protected anyway and safe anyway. So that could be a little bit trickier, but yeah.
Yeah, for us, let's say as business, the main threat it's not to have the possibility to scale and grow enough and to arrive, let's say, at a point that the business it's there and the network it's big enough to.
Yeah, let's say that we fear the market more than the regulators, because at least for the first 2 or 3 years, our revenue stream is pretty much crypto dependent, not totally, but pretty much. So of course, if the market goes very, very bad for a very long time, okay, it's bad even for us. Long term, we have also other revenue streams, like maintenance fees and other things that I'm not going to explain because otherwise our conversation will be too long. But yeah, in the short and middle term, the market is pretty fearsome compared to other things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. I ask you, Angeluca, what happens if the crypto, which can happen, crash to zero?
Yeah, okay, let's say that to zero, it means that probably the world is going to end, because it means that the financial market is going to 29 crisis. So, okay, we are going, everyone of us is going to die. Apart from jokes, let's say that if Bitcoin goes below 10K, it's per Bitcoin. So meaning that the market halves again. It's a very difficult moment. Meaning that the main hurdle is not for the development, because of course we have still run away, and we all hope that in 1 year or two the recession will go away and the market will start to go up again. But let's say that the main vulnerability will be that investment will stop pouring into our broader, let's say, industry, and so will be more difficult even for us that we live in this industry.
And especially for startup, we know that as soon as the market it's not so bullish but bearish like in this moment, the money for startups are less.
Investors are much more pickier.
They ask us more to show, and that's why also we are dedicating a lot of our resources to build the infrastructure and to have something to show. Otherwise, it's more difficult.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
So we move to on the other side of the globe, pretty much in the beautiful New Zealand. Dave, please, the stage is yours.
Good morning. How are you? Good evening, wherever in the world you're dialing in from. It's an honor to be here, and I'm Dave Rouse from CarbonClick. We are a carbon offsetting platform, a bit like Stripe, but for carbon. So at the point of sale on the cart, we connect people wanting to offset the emissions of their purchase with projects which genuinely change the future of our planet. Sustainability and innovation is part of our DNA. We're a fintech company that's dedicated to climate change. We're based in New Zealand, and in New Zealand we have a lifestyle which is very connected with our environment, but we understand a lot of people have been brought up in cities around the planet and haven't had the same opportunities we have to experience living in harmony with nature. So we're looking at ways that we can help the world to adjust, help the world to reconnect with nature, and help restore our planet to tackle this big challenge that we all have, which is climate change. We know that consumers care about climate change. In fact, most consumers care. So businesses need to either act or risk losing their social license. Businesses only have two options. The first is reduction, and that's an essential first step, which can never be ignored. The second is offsetting. Now, offsetting is plagued with challenges. There are good carbon credits and there are bad carbon credits. There are companies that do nothing in the reduction and only offset with bad credits, which is greenwashing. But when you have both of these working well together, you can achieve the outcome which we achieve for our customers, which is our customers who CarbonClick have 7 to 13% higher repurchase rates than those who don't CarbonClick. And that means tangible additional revenue for a business that's doing this right. Our vision is to be the platform of choice to the world's leading enterprises. And our mission is to make it super simple for individuals. We've reinvented offsetting to be simple, rewarding, and trustworthy. It can be as simple as a little green button on your e-commerce cart, And we do this for over 1,000 online stores. Some of them are small and some of them are large. What happens is that when your customers click the little green button to add that carbon offset to their purchase or even to their flight in the case of airlines, we transfer those funds through to fully verified carbon offset projects. We go through a rigorous criteria to make sure that all the projects accessible through our platform are truly additional and truly add value to the planet. So we eliminate the risk of bad carbon as well. And then we send track and trace receipt, just like you see with couriers. When you purchase something online, you get a courier track and trace receipt. You can actually track your parcel. That builds trust in the industry. We do the same for carbon. So you can actually see right to the carbon registry, like United Nations, that your $1 or $2, whatever the amount, you can see that that dollar's been accounted for on the registry. And that's the real key difference here that we've brought to market. This is an example of the track and trace receipt that you see, and where you can learn about those projects, why they're so important, and see that those projects have received your money. So far to date, our impact has been almost doubling every 6 months, and to date we've got actually now over 170,000 individuals who have offset with us across well over 1,000 clients. Our tech is enterprise grade, and that's our target market from the core. So airlines where we were born from, and large scale enterprises, large loyalty programs and so on is where our APIs connect into. We are blockchain connected at the core as well, and do a lot of offsetting for other tokens, NFTs and so on. And we white label for other brands as well, like WWF, who also want to be able to accept donations at the checkout and have full traceability on those donations. So the platform's quite adaptable and also has a lot of opportunity in the compliance market. So that single click carbon offset experience is the core. We have a lot of complementary products that the businesses we work with also want, like staff engagement, engagement for people who have clicked the green button that want to learn more, and so on. Our path to market is through partnering. So we've partnered with the likes of SAP in the wider e-commerce space, as well as Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, just at an app store level. And we've just launched a partnership with Amadeus in the airline space as well. The industry size is currently $1.2 billion, and it's growing rapidly. It's going to be 30 to 50 billion by 2030. Within the next 5 years, it should be 12 billion, and we should have about a 10% share of that. Our secret sauce, the track and trace we've talked about, we pre-purchase the offsets so that we can show an immediate transaction accounting at the United Nations registry, or whatever registry the carbon credits exist on. We complete the high-level audit to make sure that our brands like Etihad Airways, for example, have the security of knowing that those credits are really good credits, so they're not going to be called out by their customers. The platform is enterprise grade, and localization is really important in that. So our platform knows where you're dialing in from or where you're clicking from, and it connects you to projects local to you that are more relevant to you. This is how we build that high loyalty rate for our customers. So Etihad Airways, for example, if clients click to offset through Carbon Click on the Etihad website, they get 7 to 13% increase in their repurchase rates from those customers, which is meaningful for them. We're globally distributed from day one, even though New Zealand is the furthest country from just about all of our markets. Our current raise is to expand our presence in the core markets, particularly UK, Europe, but also US as well. The brands that we work with are also global brands, like Constellation Brands, who own Corona Beer, based out of the US. Our growth model is basically a SaaS revenue plus a small margin on the carbon. We have a maximum 20% margin because we think that's important for the integrity in this space. Some competitors charge up to 90% margin, which is not very impactful. Our forecasts, as you'd expect, we can go in more details on this if investors are interested, but we've just clicked over net revenue of 1 mil US and annualized, and gross revenue 3 mil annualized. Our resource, what we're doing is raising 5 mil US at the moment, and that's to deploy sales in market, including myself relocating into the UK and setting up a team based there to service the UK Europe market, which is where partnerships like Amadeus and SAP are largely leveraged from. But also some carbon offset fund development, some development into our product refinement, and setting up our carbon DAO as well, which some of you will be interested in, including some others on this panel. Thank you so much for your time, and I am looking forward to the questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dave. So, Julia, do you want to start with some questions?
Yes. It's a B2B business, yes?
We're B2B for B2C retailers.
No, a B2B2C, so-called.
You see, that's right.
In 2 words, how would you describe your service to B2B client?
Climate fintech.
No, I mean in very pragmatic ways. So if I were your B2B client, what could I get?
Yeah, so we present the little green button on your e-commerce cart, which allows your customers to engage in your sustainability journey by adding a voluntary offset to their purchase. In doing so, they bind themselves to your brand and become more loyal customers to you as they follow your sustainability journey.
Okay. So it's important for you that your B2B client already approved some, I don't know, sustainability program or something like that, and you help to realize it.
Yes, that's right. We help to enhance their sustainability efforts and enhance the impact that they can have by bringing their customers into that journey as well.
Okay. And the last question is the revenue, if it's possible to say now, the revenue of the previous year in 2021.
The previous year was about 150,000. So we've only been in revenue for about 2 years, so it's hard to judge when you started at 0 a couple of years ago. But we've been accelerating quite rapidly. This quarter will be 50% growth on last quarter, which was 50% on the previous. So we're maintaining over 400% annualized growth at the moment.
Okay. So thank you so much for your presentation and for interesting details.
My pleasure. Thanks for your questions, Julia.
Thank you, Julia. Stephanie, you want to be the next?
Yeah, thank you, Dave, for your presentation and your project. That's very great, especially since it's touch environments. I'm pretty much into that field as well. So my first question, I understood that you lived in the UK, you were locating or something like that, but in a place like New Zealand, what is the carbon dioxide emission compares with the UK or London? So I want to understand in where did you feel the need to work on this project? Because I would assume, but I've never been to New Zealand, and that's a personal point of view, I suppose, that a place that like New Zealand is pretty natural, pretty, environmental friendly. Whilst if you live in the UK, you feel the need to work on this sort of thing. So where does it come from? And where New Zealand is in between all those, big towns in the world, New York, Paris.
Absolutely. So I've my background, when I grew up, my father was a merchant banker, my mother was a naturopath. We lived out in the bush. We didn't even have rubbish collection, so we couldn't buy things which had too much single-use plastic, for example, because we had no way of dealing with it. All through school, when I moved into the city for schooling, It's Auckland City is like any other city. Maybe it's surrounded by bush and beauty, but certainly still has big problems with things like rubbish, single-use plastics, and so on. And so all through my business career, I've been very committed to reducing pollution. I always thought, single-use plastic was the biggest challenge that we faced globally. Being a Kiwi, we love the outdoors. When we go overseas, it's generally to go diving or fishing or skiing or be back out in the wilderness, wherever we go. And what I got sick of was, diving in Indonesia, beautiful places, and swimming in a sea of rubbish. So I became quite the environmentalist, and I didn't understand carbon and climate change at the time, but I'm very connected with my Indigenous heritage and Indigenous communities, particularly in the Pacific Islands. Now, these communities are going to be the first to be displaced by rising sea levels. So it's really a humanity crisis that the global warming from the Western world has created. So I shifted my focus from banning single-use plastics and those supply chain issues through to actually how do we decarbonize and how do we help communities mitigate the effects of global warming. Carbon Click was one of those, the easiest opportunity that I could see to have a really tangible impact on decarbonisation, but also in a way that supported projects in developing nations that would help other social co-benefits along with the carbon absorption strategies. So as well as being the tail that wags the dog, so when we go into a large business like an airline, we have to ask first, well, you can't offset if you're not doing anything yourself. You're going to have to up your game. You're going to have to decarbonize and have a strong strategy there before you invite your customers to participate in that. When you do both, you get really strong brand equity, you get really strong customer loyalty gains, and you take that brand into the future as well as fixing the problem of climate change. So that's really what drove me from a very environmental space in New Zealand to have this global impact. The UK is just, a lot of our customer base and head office are between US, potentially Asia Pacific, but also especially UK and Europe. So, which is why we'll be setting up after this fund closes, we'll be setting up our office in the UK and starting to deploy sales and management resource there, partner management resource, which involves me coming up to live there as well.
Okay, so would you say that proportionally, New Zealand / Auckland and the UK / London, we emit much more obviously than that New Zealand and or big cities in New Zealand? And so where do you place yourself, to come back to my first question? Like, where is New Zealand in all that structure?
Yeah,
Are you helping them? Where?
Yeah, absolutely helping them. So New Zealand, actually, because of our agricultural emissions, we have quite a high per capita emissions because we do a lot of dairy farming in New Zealand, which has a high impact on the environment. Even though our dairy farming is much lower carbon footprint because it's native, grass-fed, and so on, it's still a high carbon footprint. So we need the world's diets to change as well. But certainly the other lessons excluding that, we're very low carbon footprint. We're 85% renewable energy, for example, and those lessons we need to take to the rest of the planet to help reconnect the rest of the planet with nature.
Yeah. And my last question is, where do you outsource your projects, the projects you finance, especially since around the world? How do you outsource them?
It's globally, and it depends on where our customers are based. We look for projects that are as relevant as possible to our customer base. In the UK, it's quite difficult. There are not a lot of, and Europe, there are not a lot of carbon offset projects available. So sometimes we need to go to clean development mechanism projects out of Africa, or reforestation like Amazon rainforest protection and reforestation projects, which also resonate with the UK market. In the US, they're very patriotic. So US clients like to support US projects. So we connect those with local in-market projects, but they do have to all go through our own selection criteria and scrutiny first.
Of course, yeah, but it's still big project though. There's still project like when you're talking about Amazon rainforest, they're still getting a lot of money. So I would have
absolutely
more local, like yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Stephanie. Gabriel.
I'll try to be quick. First of all, thanks for the presentation. I just have I think one question. I understood what you said about understanding where the customer is clicking from and trying to implement a project that is closer to them and that's more relevant. But can the customers choose which project they are allocating to?
Not at the moment. That's in a product roadmap for Q4 this year. So October, November, December, that will be launched. What we have to be careful of is on the checkout, it has to be very simplified so that we don't cause a distraction and interfere with their own cart conversion rates. So this has to be a post-purchase process where they're just clicking a green button. They're still completing their original purchase, but post-purchase, just like a courier, you can have a redirect function. That's where this function will feature. When they get the email receipt, they can start to choose a list of other projects that they can redirect that money to.
Got it. Yeah, because there are guys like Lemonade, for instance, the InsurTech that they allow users to self-select which charity, for instance, or which cause they would like to pledge their money to, and then the remainder automatically goes there. So there's not additional steps in the customer journey, which, like you say, can generate a little bit of churn that might not be desired.
Yeah, we actually already have that function in the checkout, but we've paused or put that function into a hide mode so that it's not featured, because we found we had 2 to 3% higher cart abandonment rates with that feature because people were playing with it and instead of completing their purchase. So we have to bear in mind our customer is either the airline or the e-commerce site. They don't want the cart abandonment rates to change. They want to do good for the environment, but not at a cost.
Yep, that makes sense. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you very much, Dave. If you have some Q&A, please stay until the end and we can cover them from the audience. Now, I'm going from New Zealand to Nigeria. Xavier, please, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you for having me. So my name is Xavier Anselm, the co-founder and CEO of Idikora. Thank you for having me. So I'll just share my screen. Okay, this is Idikora. And basically, we serve as an e-management tool that helps schools all across Africa to manage all their operations from one place. So here's the problem that we're trying to solve with Idikora. So we found out that over 120,000 elementary schools in Nigeria, with over 30,000 secondary schools and hundreds of thousands of other educational institutes. So we found out that most of these schools still have more like a repetitive daily operations that is non-automated. So we understand that there is a wave of innovative technology all around Africa across different sectors, but then the educational sector is still very much lagging behind. And with Idikora, we want to bring in this solution for schools. So basically, our target or our customers are schools who get to create an account with our software, and then they get to add their teachers and school parents or these school students also. So basically, schools can manage all their operations from one place with our software. So here is the solution proper. So with Idikura, a cloud-based e-management tool, schools all around Africa can now automate their daily operations, ranging from starting with admission process. So with our software, we now have a completely automated registration process. Applicants can now stay at the comfort of their home and make applications to schools, and schools can review and reply the applicant. And then also, before now, it's very difficult for most African parents to make fee payments, because usually they have to go to the bank, make deposit, and then get back to the school. So it's a long hassle. So with Idikura, we've been able to completely streamline this process. Parents cannot pay fees directly to their school, the school of their kids. So schools cannot receive this payment directly and more securely. Yeah. So, and then for the teachers, they cannot manage their daily activities, ranging from school attendance, school tests, quiz, and a lot of other activities can all be managed with our software. And then also we've been able to manage the relationship between parents and teachers. Teachers cannot send messages direct to parents, and parents cannot have a good understanding of how their kids are performing in school. So this solution is really important. What we're trying to achieve with the Idikura is something that is very important, because we're in the digital age, and we believe that innovation will not just cut across every other aspect, but the education sector also needs to experience a lot of these innovative solutions. And with Idikura, we are at the forefront creating these solutions. All right, in terms of our competition, we found out that there's actually another startup that are doing not exactly but similar to what we're trying to do, but then we have an advantage, which is in the fact that our solution is very flexible, and we customize it uniquely so that schools can have more like a personalized experience, and it's easier to set up an account with us. Like within 5 minutes, schools can set up an account, and it's very affordable. Unlike our competitors that will find out that it takes 2 to 4 days for them to schedule Zoom meetings, coupled with demo, and it's a very long process. So, but with Idikura, you can easily set up an account. So, let's look at our market size. We found that the global edtech industry is about $81 billion as of 2020. But for the Africa edtech industry, we have about $4 billion, growing at 16% cumulative annual growth revenue. Yeah, so it's been estimated to be about $15 billion by 2025. We believe that this is a big market for us at Idikura. Okay, so in terms of our traction and where we are right now, so in December 2021, we had to look for a way to test our hypothesis and be sure that there is a market for the solution that we want to build. So from the forms that we roll out, we found out that schools were actually interested in the solution that we want to develop. So by April, we built a prototype, and it was just a very it was just the software, but with very limited functionalities. So schools could test and see how the solution is going to work. And then by May, we expand to about 300 schools, just so we could get more feedback and develop product market fit. So we launched in June, and our plan for the next 3 months is that we want to onboard about 5,000 schools. And basically, we want to achieve this through school partnership programs, so we can bring a lot of schools together and onboard them to use our platform. And we also want to be able to achieve daily active users of at least 80%. Since our our services is more like a software as a service. Yeah, so schools will be able to use our software for their daily activities. And then in the next 5 months, we want to be able to onboard about 12,000 schools, and we want to achieve this through school visits, partnership programs, and then we also want to involve the stakeholders in the educational sector. And we believe we can achieve a monthly revenue of about $100,000, and with annual recurring revenue of about $1 million. Okay, so in terms of our business model, so schools can sign up for free, and they have access to limited functionality, and it costs just $0. But then we have the basic plan, of which for the free plan, schools cannot add more than 10 members. Yeah. So but for the basic plan, they can add up to about 30 invites, and with other functionalities. Yeah. So we also want to work on the standard. Standard will have more benefit than the basic. And for the free plan, it costs $0. The basic plan costs about $10, and it's billed per user monthly. And then the standard is $15. It's billed per user monthly. So in terms of what is next for us and what we want to work on, so we found out that most schools currently do not have a proper system that helps them to manage their payroll system. Yeah, so we are currently developing a payroll system, and by next month, this coming July, we want to deploy it across schools so they can effectively manage their payroll system. And also, we want to be able to create a means.
Try to be in 5 minutes, all right? Try to be in 5 minutes.
All right. So also we want to go into big data analytics, and we are working with tertiary institutions. So here is the team. I'm Xavier Anslem, and the CEO and co-founder. I'm a product manager. I've worked with a number of startups, and this is actually my second startup, and I've been around the tech ecosystem for about 5 years now. And we have our COO, Mohammed Ibrahim. Is a software developer with experience of over 5 years. Then we have our CTO, David Nelson. He's an experienced software developer. Since our solution is software, so we needed software developers who are experienced, and then we needed a product designer, and that is the person of Adini Olamide. He's an experienced UI UX designer. So we've been working collectively on our products. So here is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Xavier. Thank you. So I'm going to introducing Tamar. Tamar, please, from Georgia. The stage is yours.
My name is marketplace, farmers marketplace in eBazaar. So let's start. The problem is that 90% of the regional farmers and households in Georgia have zero interaction with urban marketplaces and the final customer who actually buys their product to use it. And on the other hand, less regulated agricultural import of agricultural products and increased social awareness of healthy food draw the social interest of the locals to the local farm products. In fact, many residents of the large cities like Tbilisi, for example, are turning to their relatives in villages in search of reliable farm producer. So to meet the customers' needs and solve the farmers' problems, we created the first online platform in Georgia that is changing the way of how farmers are presenting and selling their products. eBazaar is the scalable marketplace that connects farmers directly to their customers in metropolitan areas. Our digital product is beautifully designed, easy purchase flow, mobile responsive website, and we have as well the operational dashboard that includes 7 different operational roles and automatic digital information exchange between those roles. Business model is a classic marketplace, connecting two customers with each other. And we have several revenue streams. For now, we have activated the transaction fee. We are taking 30% commission from each transaction. Later, we will be activating the special banner display advertisement, and we are testing HoReCa sales as well for now. We have several assets, but for the partnership, we think that our main asset is our community of the farmers that is growing monthly. Not only we launched the digital product when we launched, but we launched the brand as well. And we are communicating our brand values via our digital channels every day. Our investment project has two main steps. First is to make Georgia profitable. We have, of course, competitors on both markets, Georgia and Berlin. In Georgia, we have this famous Soplidanji e-commerce website and brick and mortar shop. They are purchasing products, stocking them, and reselling. Our advantages are that we are marketplace. That means easy, scalable. We have digital tools they don't have, and our prices are about 55% better than their prices. In Berlin, where we wanted to exit, we have the biggest competitor, Frische-Post.de. But on other side, the market is quite big, like 1.8 million households in Berlin. So there is space for us as well. Business model is already tested, so customer is ready. And we will have about 50% operational cost cuts because we will be covering part of the operations from Georgia. Operations like web development, call center, content creation, digital marketing will be covered from Georgia. And I don't know if you heard about it, but setting up company in Georgia is very much profitable as well because of the tax purposes and very flexible business regulations as well. And we have a German co-founder. That means he knows local market, has local connections, etc. Our proposal, investment proposal, is that we are asking for 226,000 euros for the first step of investment project for 20% of equity share. We already are generating some traction. Probably very important is that we have like 30% monthly growth in Georgia, and customers really love us. We have 30% customer retention. Second step is to launch Berlin. We are asking for 1 million euro to launch Berlin. As I already mentioned, market is quite big, 1.8 million households. Well, 90% of Berliners know how to shop online. Of course, farmers are farmer digitalized. And as we know, local farm producers very respected and popular among Berliners as well. Our proposal for Berlin is additional 20% equity share for 1 million. And we are aiming about 1% of the market for the first year. And after the launch, we probably will have about 21 million turnover. That means platform GMV. Shortly about the team, I myself have more than 10 years experience in business, and last 6 years I have been CEO of the most large and famous marketplaces in Georgia, like Subji, Wenduji, Extraji. Right now I am a digital product owner and the CEO of the eBazarji. Georgi Kwazava, he has really strong financial background. He's a CFO. Right now he is the director of the risks in one of the largest banks in Georgia. And Michael is from Berlin. He's the first person who believed in eBazarji idea and gave us the money to launch the project. We are gathering twice a month. We are discussing every strategic issue together. If you want to invest in high scalable mission-based marketplace, there is a eBazarji. We really strongly believe that it can become like next Uber for the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamam. Thank you very much. Gabriel, do you want to take some starting with you?
Sure, I can start. Thank you very much for the presentation. I think just one question. So I understand there are more players like yourself. You mentioned two, one in Georgia and one in Berlin, right?
Sure.
What is the key differentiator?
Yeah, for Georgia, is I already said the competitor is not a marketplace. It's just brick and mortar shop. They have e-commerce as well. So this is the key differentiator. We are marketplace. We have like opportunity to scale, which they don't have. We have tech as well and better prices for the customers. In Berlin, Berlin is, you know, I cannot say that we have advantage right now, except of that we are set it up in Georgia. So we will have cheaper operations because we will do like half of the job we will be doing from Georgia.
Okay, because otherwise, and let me ask you this as well. What or how can you retain the farmers once you've accrued the base of farmers that are important for your marketplace? How do you retain that to prevent someone from coming into Georgia, for instance, and start undercutting your fees? How are you looking at that?
Yeah, we actually I don't know, we not that we invented, but we have this unique operation flow. For example, in Georgia, before we register any farmer on the website, from the region, we are hiring a local employee. So we have our person in the region, and this person goes to the farmers, physically introduces themselves. So we have this huge loyalty between the farmers and our company, and we have all the advantages of, you know, we know exactly how the farmers are producing their products, what they use, you know, how the if it's the product safe. And actually every product before delivering, we are visually checking with help of those regional employees.
Got it. Makes sense. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are the people we will be actually acquiring in Germany as well. The other work is easily done remotely. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Gabriel. Julia, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I have a question about your vision. Do you have some strategy or vision of entering the European market, the German market? I mean, how you want to make this market acquisition?
Thank you. Interesting question. We already have ready digital products, so it's going to be very easy to, you know, just duplicate for Germany, first of all. And all the money we are asking, it's actually for two main purposes. First of all, this is to acquire local account managers for the farmers. And second is the customer acquisition. As I already mentioned, the company set it up in Georgia because great taxes, operations are cheaper, like a lot cheaper. So what we need for Germany is just to a little bit remodeling the digital product so it's relevant for German market, and then acquire the customers and the farmers. If I'm answering your question.
Yeah. So you're considering right now the direct way. Did you think about some partnership with some small company in Germany in order to avoid all this way without I don't know, great knowledge of the country, of all processes?
Do you mean consulting company or
no
partnership established
with company which is occupied in the same field, but not so great, it's not so big as the corporation that you've mentioned, in order to unite your skills and your experience and to start not from zero.
At least it's worth to discuss, at least, but it probably depends from future investor as well. Right now we are raising first for Georgia and second for exiting. So probably if the future investor will, I don't know, I think that future investor for us should be kind of team member as well. They should be sharing our passion for the project, and I'm I'm seeing that we will be asking each other stuff. So if they will be agreeing, then probably it's really worth discussing to unite the strength and
it's worth to discuss at least, because right now a lot of companies, a lot of startups of I don't know, Series R consider as the main way the partnership, or white label, if we speak about SaaS, or other type of partnership in order to save time.
Yeah, it's definitely worth discussing.
Thank you. I have no more question.
Thank you, Yulia. Stephanie, do you have any?
Yes, I have a question. So maybe I missed something when you explained. Sorry in advance, you already said, but in Georgia, you cater for Georgians, and in Germany, you cater for Germans, right?
For Germans, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So what are, because you're an online business, right? Delivering to
digital marketplace, yes.
Okay, so I want to understand the supply chain here, like the fulfillment center. Where is it based? What to the farmer and me.
Great question. Yeah, so the business model is to connect regional farmer to the customer in metropolitan area, because this metropolitan, like Tbilisi, Berlin, well, there are many customers, it's good for the business. And Tbilisi and Berlin both are surrounded with these rural areas. So this is how logistics work. We are acquiring farmers around the metropolitan area, and we are picking up sold products from the farmers and delivering to the customer's doorstep.
Okay. So in terms of percentage, what the operational costs? Just do you have an idea of that?
The operational costs, the main cost we have is, we don't have like many. The marketing cost depends how much we wanted to invest in marketing and how much we wanted to grow. I have the exact number for Georgia right now. It's about
percentage. I don't need the numbers, but I wonder how many people you can only have.
Market. Georgian market only is in Tbilisi. There is 1.1 million citizens and plus thousands of the expats living here. In Berlin, as I said, there is 1.8 million households. There is 3.5 million citizens.
Okay, but how much expense?
And it's a food. When we are talking about the e-bazaar, the product is a food. That means it's. You don't buy it once a year as, I don't know, some book or something. It's people eat every day, so it's kind of easier to sell. I'm sorry, you were asking?
The expense, operational costs, like how much does it cost you to organize all this, the percentage,
Yeah, it's about, well, I'm still not deciding if I should include marketing or not, but it's about 20%, about 20%.
Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you, Tamar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Tamar. Thank you so much. Let me introduce Christophe, and this time we go to France. Christophe, please, the stage is yours.
Okay, so what we're going to talk today is about indoor shrimp farming technology, because this is what Local Ocean is doing. And why are we doing it? Well, because it's big business, and ultimately our tech grows shrimps. Europe goes through 400,000 tons of shrimps per year. All of it is imported. Okay, there are 8 small farms in Europe producing less than 100 tons, and the reason why is because it's just very complicated to make it work in Europe. And the decision of why are we growing shrimps? Well, it comes at a huge cost to the environment. Over the past 40 years, about 5,000 kilometers of mangrove have been bulldozed to be replaced by what you see on the picture. 5,000 square kilometers is about 700,000 football pitches. And also the wild shrimp that's been harvested via the boats is the worst offender of the fishing industry. And 30% of all bycatch of the whole fishing industry comes from shrimp trawling. And it has a ratio of 5.7 kilo of dead fish for harvesting 1 kilo of wild shrimp. So you understand why bringing it indoor, bringing it in a sustainable way closer to the consumer start to make sense to be in line with UN SDG and the farm to fork initiatives in Europe. And basically, this is what we've been working on for the past 5 years. How it works, well, that's a schematic, but basically it is a small standalone system controlled by our developed software. And it produces shrimps in an automated way and in a continuous fashion. So the takeaway is our system grows 170 kilos of shrimp per month per system. It's a standalone and it's scalable because the product can be shipped very easily. It fits in a 40-foot container and can be deployed rapidly anywhere. Shrimp grows in a 100-day cycle compared to 5 to 6 months outdoor. So we have increased the growth rate of shrimp, and we are growing shrimps at about 5 to 8 times the intensity that it is normally grown in outdoor pond. And then after 5 years of R&D, our system works. Just here you see a few pictures of our system. On the left side, you see an empty tank, it's a nursery, and on the right side, you see a full tank, and it's full of shrimps inside, about 30,000 shrimps in that little pond. How does Local Ocean is going to make money? Well, twofold. We are going to construct and operate farms that we are going to manage, and we are going to sell shrimps. Currently, our farm, it's 1,500 square meter and it's based in Lithuania, and we already supply 2 supermarket chain and 1 Orica distributors, as well as selling shrimps online to direct customers. So that's one part of the operation, construct a network of farm across Europe in order to cater for the local communities. And then what we want to do is license our technology to enable other fish farms that wants to diversify, to build their own shrimp farms. We want to have other shrimp farm using our technology in order to increase efficiency and yield. And we want to work with various engineering company that construct fish farms to enter the catalog so they can resell our tech in direct channels. And we are already receiving calls from entrepreneurs on a regular basis that talks to us about their project of building a shrimp farm. So we want to enable their project to come to reality using our technology. So the vision is to become the world leader in indoor shrimp farming technology, and currently we are raising 1.5 million euro to bring our tech from TRL 5, which is pretty much where it is, 5.6, back to TRL 8.9, where we can start licensing and commercializing our tech. Team, we have 9 staff full-time and a bunch of consultants and experts working with us. The 2 founders, myself and Aymontas, we basically invested 2 million euros of our own money. So we put the money where the mouth was. And with the 1.5 million investment, we are going to reach TRL 9 in 2023 because the project is going fast. and also give us the runway to achieve 600,000 euros of annual recurring revenue from the technology part. I'm not talking about the shrimp sales. We're going to IP protect, and we're going to get the ASC certification for responsible aquaculture. Voila, I am all up for your question, guys.
Thank you very much, Christoph. Thank you so much. I love them.
Nice and sweet.
So let's start with Julian. Do you want to start?
Yes, sure. Thank you. If we speak about your competitors, what do you do better than them? So what is the key value proposition in comparison with
yeah, okay. It depends what you're talking in terms of competitors. If you're talking about the outdoor shrimp farms, I got hundreds, thousands of them, okay? But they have a business model that's gonna die at some point along with the planet if we don't do anything. In terms of indoor shrimp farming in Europe, there are 8 farms. 3 of them are working on similar type of water than us. It's the biofloc. The others using fish aquaculture, recirculating aquaculture, so clear water. The main difference with biofloc and RAS, biofloc system cost about 10 times less in terms of infrastructure cost as well as running cost, but it's a little bit less intensive biofloc. The yield is a little bit lower, but the cost of running and the cost of investment is so much more attractive. And the others that using biofloc in Europe, they basically are shrimp farmers, and they do not state and do not intend, as far as I know, to license the technology to third party like we intend to do. There is one project in the US called Homegrown Shrimps USA that states on their website that they want to resell their tech at some point, but the stuff still doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. So the main factor is the costs, yes?
The main factor is being able to produce shrimp at a price point that becomes competitive to the cheap shrimps that you have access to. Okay, there's some German and Swiss farm that using RAS system that produce beautiful shrimp, but between and retail at 80 to 120 euros per kilo. I retail at 40, which is twice the price of the Bangladeshi shrimp that you can have access to at the moment. So I'm way cheaper right now at my small scale, and the shrimp I produce, you need to consider it as a byproduct of us developing the technology. So we grow shrimp because we develop the technology.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
So competition, it's gonna happen. We pioneers. It's a brand new industry in Europe. There is no player. There is no production. First move wins.
Yeah, exactly. So user funds, you want to spend all the money for sales, yes, for headcount.
The money I want to spend it in order to finish to package my technology. It works in our farm, okay, but the prototypes, we build it ourselves, and we need to have it manufactured properly and tested. And testing this kind of product, it takes 100 days per cycle. We need to run several cycles in order to know how well it performs, and I need a bit of money in order to finish the software and making like a front facing customer app. And then yes, the rest is going to be spent on knocking on doors and getting the project started. But it's capital intensive building a shrimp farm, so there's not that many projects around, but there's some, and we offer a very good alternative to start it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, clear. Thank you. That's all from my part.
Thank you, Julia. Gabriel.
Sure, I can go. Thanks, Christoph, for the presentation. I have one follow-up question or two, but one is following up the previous point you made. So, like the first mover's advantage. Is it patented, the technology?
It's still in development, so I will patent what can be patented when I have the pre-production model and everything is sorted, absolutely. But the magic sauce will be in the software that's going to be, because we're selling one product that is like a standalone product that comes with the software and the hardware and the standard operating procedures. The magic sauce, the software does it all. The operator of the shrimp farm just need to add the right quantity of food that the software tells him, or the right quantity of minerals to keep the water in tip-top shape.
Got it.
But the design in itself, we are going to try to patent as much as we can to protect our asses. Yes.
Of course. Okay, and my next question is like, in the long term, I'm curious because there's like I understand the licensing aspect of it, and then the argument of like shrimp is just a byproduct of developing the technology. In the long run, how much are you expecting like distribution of revenues between these two channels?
Well, it depends on how fast we develop the shrimping industry, but there's 400,000 tons imported frozen. Okay, we sell fresh, so it's completely different product to begin with. And based on the current tech we have, it would require the construction of 800 farms of 20,000 square meter each to produce these 400,000 tons. So there is a big infrastructure building exercise, and it's going to be a long-term industry. Next 10 years, I expect to reach over 100 million euros in revenue. It's going to be split 50% from the shrimp sales and 50% from the licensing and other services.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
The profit will come from scaling.
Stephanie.
Don't look on exit in 3 years.
Hi, Christophe. Thank you for this presentation. Do we eat that much shrimp on the planet? Do we eat that much? I mean, do you like shrimp yourself?
I don't eat the shrimps that we can buy. I only eat mine because I know how they're made. So.
Okay, you're reassuring me. I thought you just don't eat them at all. Okay, my question is then, is the technology expandable? I don't know if it's the right word. Like, can it work with other products? The reason I'm into Atlantic cod, I invested in a little Danish company and do Atlantic cod in Iceland. I'm sure you know that where those fish comes from. But is that technology like? Can it work with other sort of fish? What's the strategy next after
it
shrimp?
Could work, okay, but making it work for shrimps is already like a full-time job so far. So we focus on shrimps. It would work with tilapia. It would work with catfish. It would work with mud crab with small adaptation. But shrimp is 4.7 million tons per year. It's $45 billion a year business. It's plenty for me already.
Yeah, no, I understand. But the more investors you get in your business, the more greedy and they will want more money. So I suppose at some point they would have to obviously to see what sort of future to imagine.
I'm also here to do. I'm also here to do my bit on saving the planet.
Well done.
Not just for the money.
Well done.
Thank you so much, Christoph. For everyone who wants to ask questions to the funders, we have another 2 pages, and after we have 10-15 minutes where we can ask questions. We already have some. Yes. You can also ask questions. We try for the first time to allow you to talk. Now, let me call Andrea Silva. Andrea.
Here I am. Hello, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So hello, everyone. Thank you for hosting us. I'm Andrea Silva. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Moppy. So cleaning workers account for up to 3% of the workforce in any country. And so with Moppy, we want to give them choice by providing them with better jobs and at the same time serving better the needs of their employers. So first of all, let me save your time. You can judge by yourself if you can check your social right now while I'm talking, or you want to listen to the following pages. Because if you're looking to find a sexy new tech, that's unfortunately not us. And if you are into Web 3.0 and beyond, again, not the right place. We are not inventors or scientists. We are just passionate folks who know digital from their past experience at Google and beyond. And we believe tech should work for everyone, with no one left behind. If you want to invest also in a profitable venture from day one, again, this is probably not the place. Vice versa, if you embrace this idea, it's because you believe that impacting the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, is what matters at the end of the day. If you believe that building an engaged community is equally or more important than having a unique patented product, again, it's the place. If you believe that scale is an important driver of business sustainability, here we are. Here we are. So if you ever try to recruit a cleaner, you probably know the frustration. So we interviewed and surveyed many different people, business owners and residential customers. And each one of them complained about how difficult it is to get the right cleaner for the right job at the right time. That's equally interesting to know that we have a cleaner advisory board, and they are also very frustrated for the lack of choice of good jobs. So we are here to solve what apparently none of the companies that are operating, and there are many in this space, are able to solve right now. So we identified three main non-addressed issues so far in the cleaning industry. The first one is that cleaning, recruiting happens largely offline. And that's for good reasons. Currently, a customer looks at friends and family to source a cleaner. That brings limited choice on both sides, yet the offline mechanism works well to establish trust. And so we want to mirror that online. We will make sure that cleaners will have a simple tool to present themselves and their skills to potential employers, sort of a LinkedIn for cleaners. And we will empower them to get sponsored and recommended, but they are acquaintances, their friends, and people that work with them. That way we can amplify their reach by using us. Finally, cleaners and customers are often shy, probably you experienced that as well yourself, to discuss what's working and not in a long-term relationship, doing that face-to-face. So we want to break this barrier by offering social tools so that the right work expectations get set from day zero. The second issue that we discover is that cleaners and customers want to have control on matchmaking. They want to know each other before making a decision, a pairing decision. So we see our platform as a facilitator, is, if you will, in that sense, a Tinder for cleaning. We don't want to play the middleman. We want to make sure that information is shared very transparently. Our cleaners are not the Uber driver or the helping cleaner apps. They have names and they have histories, and we want to just help them getting discovered. And that's what both sides of the equation want. The third and final issue is that both customers and cleaners don't want to pay commission fees for matchmaking. There are marketplaces out there that do that, And the result is that there is disintermediation of them. But this is also a problem with the traditional cleaning agencies that are out there. And in fact, agencies are the least attractive option for a cleaner to work for. Because of that, they take an healthy margin. So we designed a model that is tuned to the long-term engagement of users. Cleaners want to have choices to optimize their shifts, to capitalize on their brand, and to find new exciting opportunities. And they want to do that safely. Employers want to have a positive work relationship for long and be safe too. So we want to align the monetization model with these ambitions. And so we went for a SaaS model, a subscription model. We will also offer discounts and waivers for the good users or ambassadors of the platforms that help us growing it. For instance, by referring us new cleaners or new customers, therefore saving our CAC. If you are excited as we are about solving the issues of hundreds of thousands of people, please reach out to us. We are early stage, and I'm conscious I gave you absolutely no idea on how we are going to execute on all this. This week we are finishing production in this week's the production of the MVP, but very keen to answer all your questions later on. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Andrea. We start soon with the questions, don't worry. Gabriel, please.
Yeah, thanks, Andres, for the presentation. I think I just have one question. What markets are you focusing on? Like geographically, where are you focusing on?
Yes, so our go-to-market will be city by city, and we will focus well, first on Milan, and I can expand a little bit on why Milan. I live there, but then we will move very rapidly to the UK, big cities in the UK, and then move to the US. Those are the main markets because they are all speak the same language. Then we'll come back to Europe. That's the last wave. But generally, these markets have a common thing. The hourly fee for the cleaners is higher than other markets. And there is some complexity in the logistics of the metropolis, which will give incentives for cleaners to maximize their yield, to optimize the shifts that they want to work on.
Will that also be done by your product, that optimization? So trying to match it by...
Yes,
go ahead,
so
sorry.
once we will collect data, we will be able to do to make recommendations for cleaners on where to go next at best. That on one side. On the other side, and that's also in our roadmap a little bit later, is to do spot buys. Once we get enough data about the reliability of the cleaners, we might also want to pair them with event-triggered cleaning hours, like an after-party cleaning event, which will be very attractive for them.
All right, makes sense. Thank you. I think for me that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Julia. Muted.
Julia was checking her emails.
What? I didn't hear you very well.
No, you were in the part, I was joking. You were in the part of the ones that were checking the email once I presented that slide.
No, unfortunately. I was wanted to ask, I was wondering to ask whether your revenue of 2021, what is the revenue?
In 2021, we didn't post any revenue, so I should really tell you where we are right now. So we are about to launch the MVP in Milan. So we are in the development phase, so very much pre-seed investment here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so and the second one, could you describe in the practice way the product, the service to clients? If I were your clients, for example.
Definitely. So on one side, if you were the cleaner, you would feel a quick onboarding process where you state your experience. On the other side, if you were an employee, a potential employer, you would look for profiles in your area that are covering the services that you need. At the same time, cleaners will ask reviews as soon as they do jobs to employers to make sure that they build their professionalism within the platform, and with that enriching their profile for new opportunities. That's the MVP. Later on, as I was mentioning before, we are going into optimization of the shifts. So as a cleaner, you have the opportunity to have a calendar and making sure that the shifts are recorded there. We will have also geolocalization of the cleaners where they go. On the other side, as an employer, you will know if the cleaner went, when it went, and you will manage that same calendar to make sure that the shifts are going to get right with your schedule.
Okay, yes, it's clear. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yes, and we can meet then in Milan when we get the already A stage, so we can.
Absolutely.
We can meet.
Stephanie.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you for this presentation. Good luck. I want to understand your business model. You said it's subscription. Who pays? Which side?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Yes. So at the beginning, we want to. It's going to be the cleaners are our main customers. So we want to really offer services for the cleaners to find better opportunities and better choices. Okay. So we were thinking of having them paying a subscription fee for these services, of keeping the flow of job openings coming, as well as managing their shifts, and potentially in the future also getting services that have a high affinity with cleaning, be safe in a way, and so having health insurance, for instance, in partnership with some insure-tech operator, or having their payment done, etc. So SaaS model, subscription model for cleaners. And in our preliminary business planning, we have that at €8 per month, which is the equivalent of their Netflix subscription, which they all have, for sure. I don't. Most of them. The other point that I wanted to make is that these fees can be waived if they bring enough other cleaners that they know, or if they have a very good rating. So for us, they are a value because on the other side, people will see that there are great cleaners.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what are your projections then?
Sorry?
Your projections, because they pay fee €8. It's quite low, and obviously we're talking about temporary work. But what if they have like a permanent work, or they decide to go outside? Of course, £8 for us, €8, it's little, but you always have people wanting not to pay anything. So how, how do you deal with that? And I'm curious to know, what are your projections for the first year? Because first example, Milan, 3 million people?
Yes.
Right? Around?
Yeah.
I love Milan. I've been a couple of times. And you said that the cleaners are 3% of the workforce?
Yes. Right? So you take 1.5 million, more or less 3% is that. But 50% of the population is workforce.
But still, it's around 60K cleaners in Milan only. Yes. And then you have people that are already employed, so the numbers are even lower. And then, obviously, you're not the only one on the market. So there are you will have 10K clients per month. It's nice, but then is it sustainable in the long term? How do you project that? I'm curious to know.
Very good. So let's start broadly. So we saw that broadly in the market, the cleaning industry is 400 billion, okay, per year. In the Western countries, 200 billion. If you take only the regular cleaners, is 100 billion per year turnover. Okay, that's, let's say, our broad TAM. You are very correct. In Milan, actually, we have, in 6 months, our ambition is to get to 4,000 cleaners. Okay, and exactly 4,000 cleaners and 5,000 job requests in 6 months. Milan is for us a test bed because it's an average city that is more or less fares with the top 20 cities in terms of complexity in the US and the top of 4 or 5 cities in the UK, London being clearly an outlier. So we believe that in 5 years, we want to, if we scale to these 20 cities in 5 years, we should get around 400,000 cleaners. That's our aim. And with these 400,000 cleaners, we should be able to make $100 million revenues. 45% of those revenues are the $8 that I was telling you, $8/euros that I was telling you before. The rest will be B2B services and customer services. Many of them are paying agencies for recruiting. We want to take a lower cut versus the current incumbents, but we have estimated 20 euros for a certain number of profiles that have guaranteed for each consumer, and $200 for each business that wants guaranteed these profiles, for more profiles, of course. So that's how we built the estimates. But on top of that, there will be spot buys for the services I was mentioning before. Something happens, you need a cleaner very soon to clean up the mess, and so the cleaner will make more money. There we probably take a cut. And then services also on the buy side for quality assurance, making sure that the quality of the service long term is safe and preserved, and for insurance on their side as well.
Okay, and my last question, and this I'm curious. So you called the company Mopi. Why not another name? Because obviously there were Mopi before. That went burst, I think. Why not another one? Because now you have Mopi, but you have Mopi.pro, whilst Mopi.com obviously is mega expensive. The company went burst. They lost the domain name, whatever story it is. I can't remember. But so why not another name?
Okay, so
important to grab this Mopi name.
So if you go to GoDaddy for Mopi.com now is at 8,000 euros. So it's not a big expense. We went for Mopi.pro first of all because our discoverability will happen a lot on apps at the beginning on the mobile phone, because cleaners are very active on their mobile phones. Typically they have the latest model because typically they are foreigners, and so they need to communicate back home quite often. So it's not because of other things. They need a nice phone. That's the only digital tool they have. So that's why we went for we still like Mopi, honestly.
It's a good name for your industry, but £8,000 for a startup is an expense, to my view.
Exactly. So that's why we went to Mopi.pro.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stephanie. So we have, before we start the Q&A, we cross, maybe we finish around 7 and 10 with some Q&A. We have some from the attendees who wants to make questions, which we are very happy. I want to introduce the last founder, and we go to the beautiful Tanzania. And Amos.
Hello, my name is Amo Muchumbusi from the beautiful Tanzania, founder of Twenzao, the startup that's building Africa's leading carpooling platform. What is this Twenzao? A carpooling platform where private car owners offer empty seats in their cars and passengers traveling in the same direction book these seats. What is important to note is that it is already a common practice across many African countries for passengers to pay informal travel middlemen so that they can wave down private cars for them. The problem we are trying to solve can be split into two categories: the car owner's concerns and the rider's concerns. Number one car owner's concern is how expensive the fuel is. And when you are driving alone, you could easily get bored, sleepy, tired, and even endanger your own life. The travel middlemen I had mentioned earlier are a nightmare for car owners and passengers alike because they try to take advantage of both sides. On the rider's side, the number one concern is safety when traveling in a stranger's car. Travel expenses are also a concern. An interesting phenomenon for you to know is that in Tanzania, long distance buses leave exclusively in the mornings, meaning you miss the bus in the morning, you've missed your journey for the day. And comfort is of course a concern as well for riders. Many of these long distance buses are rather uncomfortable. I keep mentioning long distance buses because they're the main form of interregional transport in Tanzania at the moment. Twenzao offers a very simple solution. All that the car owner has to do is post his ride on the Twenzao application. Then he can sit back and relax waiting for the bookings. On the rider's side, all that they have to do is open the Twenzao app, find a suitable ride, place the booking, and just like that, these two are happily connected for a ride through the Twenzao application. Concretely, our value proposition is as follows. Both sides get to save money. There are plenty of safety mechanisms in place to ensure the safety of Twenzao users. And in contrast to the current status quo, people are able to conveniently make their travel arrangements through the Twenzao application on their mobile phones. And in our own small way, we contribute to the reduction of CO2 by reducing the number of cars traveling with vacant seats. How large a market are we looking at? The global ride-sharing market is valued at over $100 billion. In Africa, the market is at $7 billion. Twenzao aims to capture 4 billion out of this 7 billion African market. And according to the UN Africa Review Report on Transport, 90% of the passenger traffic in Africa is by road, yet the current public transport offering is far from sufficient. And there is not a single established ride-sharing platform across the whole continent that is comparable to, say, BlaBlaCar that is operational in Europe. This is how the competition landscape looks like for Twenzao. A few fragmented small players. We believe we get our competitive edge through a great focus on safety features. Now that safety is a major concern in this style of travel, and we have a highly localized product in terms of the language used in the application, as well as the nature of the workflows on the application. Where we currently stand, 6 months after launching our beta, we have over 10,000 registered users. Over 1,000 rides have been conducted through the Twenzao application, and we won big at the Tanzania Digital Awards in the category Digital Innovation in Transport. In 12 months after funding, we aim to have over 500,000 registered users, over 500,000 ride bookings. In the third quarter of next year, we start our territorial expansion, and hoping within 3 years, we should have covered the whole of Africa. In the fourth quarter of next year, we intend to incorporate courier services into our platform. How are we gonna make money? Through a simple 10% commission structure. Here is an example of a rider paying $10 on the Twenzao application, $9 going to the car owner, $1 remaining on the Twenzao platform. If we can do that 48 million times a year, we are talking of a revenue of around 48 million US dollars per year. This 48 million is not arbitrary, it's elaborated further in our financial plan. That is the legendary team working on Twenzao. With that, thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you very much to you, Amos. Julia.
My question, thank you so much, first of all. And my question is, how do you estimate the risk of entering the market in your country by some foreign competitor that can see the opportunity in Tanzania and that already have product, they have a business model and so on and so forth?
That is a very good question. And of course, we cannot close out the possibility of a foreign player trying to enter the market. But we still believe that our local knowledge and local connections would place us strategically in being able to safeguard our market.
Okay, so you mean that the business relationship, the particular business relationships, can't allow to some foreign company to start business quickly, and so that is why you have this advantage.
Yes, indeed, because as we speak, there is already a small player called UShare that is operating here in Tanzania. I think it's a Thai or Chinese company, but they have simply not been able to establish themselves in the market.
Okay.
Yes, because they largely lack the local touch. For example, they have their application in a foreign language, and you wonder why, when people cannot really relate with that. The nature of the workflows are rather non-intuitive, even for somebody like myself, who is operating in this industry. So you need that local touch to somehow seamlessly integrate with how people already relate with the travel.
Okay, thank you. I have no question about the platform because it's already approved model in the world. So it's I think that there is no problem with that.
Thank you.
So only with the market and with the competitive environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Yulia. Unmuted? No. Stephanie.
Thank you, Amos. Very interesting. I'm a big fan of companies that expand in Africa. I fail. So when I see people succeeding, I'm like always, oh my God, amazing. So you started, I understood, right? And I can completely relate with what you said before, like the Chinese don't have your competitive advantage of knowing the local. And I suppose my sister and I, that's where we fell. So you already started, it's already operating. Am I right to say that?
Yes, we have a fully functional product out there.
Okay, so what the numbers right now, and how long has it been operating for?
So as I said, we launched a beta version of the app in December last year.
Okay.
As we speak, there is already
during the pandemic.
Come again?
During the pandemic, you launched during the
pandemic.
Wow.
You can say that during the pandemic, but what you have to know, life hardly changed in Tanzania in view of the pandemic. Yes,
good.
Businesses were still running as usual. There were hardly any changes in the way people live their lives here.
Lucky you.
Yes, I realize you're lucky. Yeah.
Okay. So to come back to my question, like what are the numbers right now, and are you happy with that?
Yes, we have nearly 15,000 registered users, and there are around 1,300 rides that have already been conducted through Twenzao. What you have to realize is that this traction has been achieved with minimal marketing effort based on our minimal financial resources for marketing at the moment. And I completely believe that with the right financial muscle and an aggressive marketing campaign, we are able to make Twenzao spread out like a wildfire.
Okay, so 6 months operation and 1,600, you said something like that. So one ride or more or less per day? Or
come again?
So you said, sorry, you've been operating for 6 months, and how many rides you operated since?
Yes, indeed, we have around 1,300 rides conducted.
Okay. Thank you. That's my only question. Thanks.
Gabriel, you want to close?
That's an average of 100 rides per month.
Yeah.
Taking some questions, but we can't take too many questions because we have very limited time. Amos, because you are here, the first question is, are you make sure that the car owner and the rider are safe and there are not bad intentions?
Yes, as I said, a number of mechanisms in place. One, there is a thorough user verification before anybody can offer a ride or book a ride through the platform. And we do some partial location training, tracking, during the rides to know where they are at any given moment. Other than that, we have an emergency in-app button that any user can click at any moment, and they would be directly linked to us as Twenzao to help them out in any scenario. And there's a feature special just for ladies, whereby it is possible to have ladies-only rides for those who feel more comfortable riding in the comfort of fellow ladies. It's not mandatory, but it's an option that is there. And at the same time, don't underestimate the power in the rating and review system when it comes to safety, because unsafe behavior is likely to be reflected in the reviews that one gets at the end of a ride. And when one's rating falls below 3 out of 5, the Twenzao application automatically blocks that user's account for further review to know why is it that they're scoring such a low rating.
Thank you. And the second and last, because I can't take too many, how do you prevent cash payments outside your platform?
So the only way you can do that is by adding concrete value that encourages people to continue using your application. What you have to realize in an application like this, for the car owner, if they have a very strong profile, then they are also able to offer higher prices than a person with a inferior profile. And the only way you are able to create that strong profile is by doing as many rides as possible through the system rather than constantly trying to get around the system. That is one way. And another way, as I said, our focus on safety. We do make calls to the users before the rides, during the rides, and even after the rides, just making them realize that we are with them and we are really concerned that they are safe and their ride is going all right. So all these are things that I think would discourage this intermediation.
Thank you, Amos. Now we have John Hercules. I hope I can pronounce well. Vida, if you can bring John as panelist, John can ask question himself. I think the question is for Tamar, if I'm right.
Hi, Marcelino. Thanks, first of all, for the invitation for joining the panel. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
Okay, guys. To all the founders, good luck with your startup. I'm founder in one way, and on the other way, I'm an advisor for several investors and for startup hubs when we, let's say, appraise or judge new startups. So I have quite a large field of interest. It's not just the apps I invest in. So I was a little bit intrigued, not only about Tamar, but Tamar especially, with the fact that she came with the statement or with the assumption that they have a Georgian model, which they want to implant in Germany. And by accident, in the last 1 year, I was involved in 3 similar apps, 2 in Austria and 1 in Germany, who are in development. And they all, we did a market review and we did a market interviews with customers. And there is a big difference between other markets and the German markets, because in Germany, the small farmers, they are most of the time collected in corporations, and they're obligated to sell their goods over those corporations. Did Tamar was aware of that? And if yes, how does she wants to pass that?
Thank you, John. Tamar, that's yours.
for interest and question as well. Honestly to say, no, I'm not aware because we only learned the competitors for now. But assuming that they have no problem to acquiring the farmers, we kind of assume that we will not have the problem either. And since we have the strategy to acquire, we have account managers who are visiting farmers and discussing e-bazaar with them. And we are quite successful in Georgia. We are
I can imagine.
forecasting. Yes.
But Tamar, and please don't take this as negative. It's just to make you aware of it. And if you want, you can always contact me. I can give you some background information outside the meeting. But the biggest difference between Georgia and Germany is that in Germany, you have more things, especially when you talk about food, which is regulated. Why regulated? Because of transport, logistic, hygiene, and everything. That means that the food has to fulfill certain specifications and certain quality, like pesticides, stuff like all those things. And that's why farmers the smaller farmers, they don't want to go into that trouble of finding out and getting all the paperwork done themselves. That's why they go to corporations. So there are ways around it, but it will be very difficult. That's why I tell you, and I know Georgia because I worked in Georgia and Armenia and so on. I worked a lot there with carpet industry. And I know that the regulations there are different and farmers will be happy with your help because they don't know how to sell the products or bring them easy to market. It's a difference with the German market. So that's why I was asking. So it's not a negative comment because I hope you will succeed because I think that it is good to help the local farmers. But on the same moment, it will not be easy.
Yeah, we are aware of the regulations, of course. As I mentioned in my presentation as well, Georgia is pretty much flexible for now with business regulations, which is not the case for any country of the EU, I can imagine. But exit for the Germany, actually, we want to go to Germany because Michael is from Germany and he has so much knowledge of the market and he already did this competitor research and everything. Probably we don't have like every information for now, but we are getting there. It's not like for discussion for now, but we are kind of thinking of Kazakhstan market as well. Not only for the Germany, we will definitely be exiting from the Georgia, but which market is better? For example, Astana or Berlin. We are just right now. We are researching that.
I wish you anyway. I wish you a lot of luck. Like I said, it's good when people help the smaller farms. It's the same with what we do with InfraRep. We want to help smaller entrepreneurs, the SMEs. So we share the common feeling of those smaller companies need our help.
Great, John. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome and good luck for all of them. Okay.
Thank you, John. So we're finished. We've been already 20 minutes after the timing. I really want to thank you. Thank you to all of you guys. Thank you to all the panelists, founders, and investors. And hope to see you again in September. So we have another pitch day plus a panel discussion in September in education, if I remember. And the pitch day will be always agnostic, so we accept all the applications. I want to close this session. We run a biz talk, which means we invite founders to talk to me, and we talk about the business dreams, ups and downs. We've done already more than 150, so I'm going to play my thanks, all the equity mesh team, to the founders that have been coming and talking to us. It's been a very exciting journey. We've done already 200, I think, more than 200 interviews. And again, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you again.